Following its constitutional review in 2007, the British Virgin Islands is gearing up to start the process all over again. And as was the case the last time around, the question on the tip of some tongues: is it time for the territory to push for political independence from Britain? That issue was at the heart of a recent public forum hosted by the H. Lavity Stout Community College entitled Constitutional and Political Model for the Strategic Development of the BVI. Queen's Counsel Gerard Ferraro, who was one of the architects of the Virgin Islands Constitutional Order of 2007 and who also served on the Constitutional Review Commission of 2003, says historically the territory has been asking Britain for delegated authority instead of devolution or decentralized administration, but warned of possible problems, citing Turks and Caicos.
And indeed, when we look at the reserve powers in the Constitution, we know that ultimately we are really speaking of delegated authority and delegated powers, and not the devolution of authority in terms of governance. Because essentially, what is given with one hand can be taken back with the other. And the Turks and Caicos Islands certainly has been a very good example of that.
Mr. Ferrara says the answer to the BVI's thrust for autonomy isn't outright independence.
I believe that the approach that we should adopt in the BVI is one where we seek to create a new constitutional relationship with the United Kingdom short of independence. In some of the talks which we've had in the past in relation to constitutional advancement, we have been told pretty categorically, well, you have gotten as much as you're going to get short of independence. And therefore, there's not much more for you to get, maybe a little tweak here and a little tweak there, and that is all you're going to get in these talks, unless, of course, you hold a referendum.
The veteran attorney says the territory should advocate for devolution of power, as constitutional advancement and development are inextricably linked. He argues that in making the case for greater autonomy over its affairs, the BVI must be guided by its political maturity and prosperity over the past 20 years, as well as expectations regarding development over the next 30 years and beyond.
Our approach has been, well, the governor has certain reserve powers, and what we must seek to do is to get some of those reserve powers given to our ministers of government, our elected representatives. And to underpin that, our approach has been to say, well, let us look at principally the Constitution of Bermuda. Well, to me, that kind of approach has really reaped the benefits that we have reaped thus far, and it ought not to be the kind of approach that we ought to adopt going forward.